affect us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
America has a problem.
Happy Thursday. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. This is the show where we talk all things entertainment, sports, culture, and lifestyle. We get into all the trending topics, all the hot headlines. I am your host, Jill Munroe. I hope you are having an amazing day, and we are going to add to it. Thank you. Thank you, VIPs, for checking in. So we absolutely have a whole lot to get into tonight because, as usual, the internet is keeping us on fire. The news cycle is heating up, and it's Thursday, so that means one more day before the weekend. So we have a lot to discuss. Let me let you know what is on the agenda for tonight. So listen, we have a guest coming in tonight, and we're going to discuss professional athletes and cannabis use. You know, the NBA recently modified their collective bargaining agreement so that they are no longer testing for marijuana. They have also added in language in there that players are allowed to invest in cannabis brands and promote cannabis brands. So we're going to be talking a bit about that with a lifestyle and culture manager of a cannabis brand and some other things. We're going to get into all of that in a second. Of course, we're going to get into hot topics. We'll get into more of those second hour. But did you hear that some of the cocaine was found in the White House? We're going to talk about that, where it was found, what they believe is going on with that, and ask a couple of questions related to that because, I mean, if the White House is holding white, we might have a question or two, right? Maybe one. You know, I do at least. We're going to talk about the rumors about Tom Brady and Kim Kardashian. You know, we mentioned yesterday that they were amongst the very elite and wealthy that were at Michael Rubin's kind of birthday party / 4th of July white party in the Hamptons. So we're going to talk about the rumors. Are they true? Are they not? Are they linking up? We are also going to discuss, we briefly discussed yesterday, so let me set the stage. Twitter has some competitors. Actually, Twitter has about 7 competitors, right? But the latest ones to kind of hold our attention or that are being discussed are one that is from 2 former Twitter employees, Black-owned, not all the way, but 2 of the leads, and that's called Spill. But the other is from Meta. You know, Mark Zuckerberg gets it in. He is the best at taking something that is already existing, remixing and tweaking it a little bit and making it a whole new thing that everybody wants to be a part of. So that's what he did with Threads, which is being presented as a Twitter alternative. And Twitter has a little beef with them. So there's some legal stuff jumping off into that. We're also going to discuss, there's a TikToker, financial advisor, who's a scammer that's caught up in a RICO case and hired for murder. We're going to get into that. And later on in the third hour, we're going to discuss fans right now. Is there a little bit of entitlement going on with the fans? I don't know if you heard Drake started his tour last night. Someone threw a cell phone at him when he was performing. Lil Nas X was performing the other day. Someone threw something, you know, plaything at him while he was performing. And there's a couple of more instances of this. So we're going to talk about where fans are at right now as it relates to our celebrities and our performers. We're going to get into all that and more. And we absolutely want you to check in. If you are around YouTube, check into the YouTube channel. The chat is always lit in there. Hit us up on our socials, KBLA 1580. Or if you have questions, start getting them ready because you know the good question of the night is coming later. I want you to hit us up, 800-920-1580. If you just have a comment already, if you have something you want to talk about to get ready for it, let us know. And other than that, get yourself relaxed, maybe get an adult libation, and get ready because we're going to get into some things, some trending topics, some headlines, VIPs. I'm always here to give you access. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I'm James Alexander, a proud member of AARP. 1967, I was 17. That spring, my friends, the Barcades, and I made Soulfinger. It was a hit. Number 3 on the charts. That summer, we became the great Otis Redding's band. First gig, the famed Apollo. That fall, we toured. That winter found me in a morgue identifying the bodies of my bandmates and Otis Redding. My music and their memories bring me joy. The Barcades forever.
What would you call a joy that is as solemn as it is sweet and knows no bounds? A joy that's beautifully rooted in soul and resilience. This is Black Joy, a joy that reflects pride and honor despite every challenge. AARP believes the power of Black joy is limitless, and we celebrate this joy supreme. Join us in celebrating Black joy at aarp.org/Black community.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. And I mentioned earlier that we're going to talk about professional athletes, specifically basketball players, NBA players, and cannabis use. As I mentioned, starting in the 2023 season, the CBA has been changed up so that they will not be testing for cannabis use anymore. That it was already the case, I believe, with baseball and hockey. I believe neither one of those tested for cannabis use. So now the NBA steps up and steps into that arena. They're also allowing the investment in cannabis brands and promotion, and also sports betting companies. That's a conversation for another day. Our guest tonight is Marcus Malone. Marcus is a former, was it D1 college athlete at the University of Houston. He is now a senior manager of lifestyle and culture for Glass House Brands. He's the creative director of Proper. He's the host of a podcast, Cannabis and Kicks. They've recently had on Too Short. I think there is something with Mike Tyson I saw. He has a digital series coming up featuring John Sally as one of the first guests. Where they take a look around at professional athletes and cannabis use and the different businesses involving them. They're going to talk to also not just professional athletes, but also celebrities, just getting down into the fact that cannabis, especially here in Los Angeles, is here to stay, a part of the culture, and how it benefits us and how it can be utilized. So we're talking to Marcus. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Drew League GM and coach. You guys were the champions in 2021, right? Yep. So we have a lot to talk about. Welcome, Mr. Marcus Malone.
Thank you, Big Sis, for having me. It's been a blessing just seeing your growth. I'm happy for you in this new show, and I can't wait to dig into these topics.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So a little background. I met Marcus when I worked at Nike, and he was in high school. His godfather, Rock, who was very, very close, like practically raised by Jim Brown, a pillar in the community, ex-gang members, spent some time in jail, but mentors youth now through basketball, is very deep in the community. And Marcus is one of the kids that he took care of, showed the way, and so he was involved with, there used to be a summer league here out at Venice Beach called Battlegrounds that a lot of the different teams participated in, and so that's how we met quite some time ago, and now we've both grown in many different directions. So talk to me first a little bit. Tell me about Glass House Brands and how you got involved in that.
I actually talked myself into a job there. They were looking for someone in the social equity space that can kind of like manage and spearhead that whole campaign. It was like an empty space in cannabis that needed to be filled, a void that needed to be filled. And so when I got there, we kind of like figured, because of how it was like fixed or how it was positioned, it wasn't really going to work at the time. So the CEO, who ironically played basketball at USC, his name is Kyle Kazan, big time real estate guy. He built this cannabis company. He actually played for Coach Rav, who obviously worked for Nike. Coach Rav worked
for Nike, former USC coach, Hall of Famer. Yep. If you have seen Air, Marlon Wayans portrayed him in that. Yep. We love Coach Rav.
And so Coach Rav is actually a part of the board of Glass House. And so Kyle, we just had a lot of things in common. We came under the Coach Rav mantra, so we kind of had that personality. We kind of knew from a basketball standpoint, he knew how to like take charge or like put certain things on me or hold me to a different level of accountability than others. And so he it took some time, but he found the niche and where to place me in the company. And so right now at Glass House, my job is to bring the cool factor, bring the substance, bring culture, and also just blur the lines between consumer, not corporate cannabis, but more so the brand. And then just focus on the storytelling, like what the message that we should be sending and where it should go. And so right now, you alluded to the last show, Plant Shopping. That'll be with Glass House. So it'll probably be about 10 episodes for the first season. And so the job is to, or the goal is to show the relationships we have with celebrities and how they use cannabis in their everyday life. So some, it might be athletes, retired, new. Some it might be rappers or R&B singers. Some it might be actors, but all of them use the plant at different in different ways. Some tinctures, some CBD cream, Some obviously
Explain
flower.
what is a tincture, what is a CBD cream, because everybody might not be aware.
For sure. So the tincture is usually used as like oil based that has cannabis in it. Usually most people use it like to massage on it. So we'll be in the Surgeon League coming up, which is kind of like the Drew League meets Soho House. So we'll tell that story coming up on how athletes massage the tinctures into their body to help relax their muscles before they play the game. Obviously, CBD cream is like everyone doesn't like the oil, so the cream is obviously a thicker texture that the athletes can use to rub on them to probably heal after they play. And then obviously the flower, which everyone knows.
Flower is flower.
And so that's the goal, is to kind of change the negative connotation around cannabis and just use all the great tools that I have at Glass House, and then all the relationships I have, celebrity and or basketball, and kind of like mix be the mixture between the two, but also, you know, make sure that the brand is being told in a quality way versus, you know, you get in the media, you see all these negative things about cannabis companies, and it's like we want to control our own narrative, but at the same time we want to be tasteful in how we roll out the content.
So let me ask you this. You deal with a lot of athletes, professional athletes, former professional athletes, guys that you probably played with in college. You deal with guys that play a lot overseas and in different professional factions from the Drew League and this new league that you're going to be into. How does the average basketball player utilize cannabis?
Most, I would say flower. People don't realize you go through so many different ranges of motions throughout a game, either preparation or during the game. A lot of times after the game, it takes a while to calm down. So a lot of times players use the flower to smoke and to calm their body down, because obviously once you're off the court, there's no more like rage. You have to be human. And a lot of people don't realize, like, an athlete is like a bubble. It's not real. It's not like a real life. It's not. They don't even have the same rules. So the flower is kind of used to calm the athlete down and like to slow down the range of emotions. But for the most part, you're seeing coaches. I won't say the team per se, but I give out a lot of.
What conference?
I'll say West Coast.
Okay, Western Conference. That makes sense.
I'll say Western Conference. I'll say teams in California. You'll see a ton of coaches using CBD cream and tinctures just because their body just goes through so much throughout a day, so much pounding. You actually kind of need it to survive. I've heard stories from teammates like Tyson Chandler. Recently we filmed John Sally. He talked about how it gave him 5 more years in the NBA because he had pain in his knees, his back. But when he smoked or used the cream, it literally like healed his body. And so these type of real stories you're hearing from athletes who are very successful.
Well, Tyson says it calms him down, right? It keeps him mellow.
Mellow, for sure.
So that was kind of, you went along with DJ Who Kid, who is your co-host, right, on Cannabis and Kicks, and you guys had a conversation with Tyson. So talk to me a little bit about that, what it's like hearing about the use of marijuana from an athlete like him, a legend like him, and how it compares to what you hear from some of these younger guys.
I think the older guys, you see it benefiting them more because you've got to think they put so many miles on their body, whether obviously Mike Tyson's a boxer, the physicality of it all, the how it affects the brain, just the toughness, the physical toughness you have to have, and the mentally tough mindset you have to have to survive as an athlete. I think cannabis, and he's quoted saying it literally helps him remain human, and instead of the altered body experience as an athlete or a personality athlete has to take on to even be successful in that line of work. So like I said, the plan is good to people. I've seen it help even my mom. She had breast cancer for a little bit. The pain of it, she didn't want to be loopy off of meds. She literally used tinctures, and she's a spiritual woman. So for her to do it and be an advocate for it and talk about it in the church is a huge thing.
Right.
Is a huge thing. So I think the plan has really shown to help the elder athletes extend versus the newer athletes. They probably it's probably recreational for them at this point, but I think as they like start focusing on like yoga has become a big thing and stretching, the plant literally is able to expand the lungs, expand the different organs in your body. So I think you'll start seeing them use that as a method, as right along with yoga.
So it's a lifestyle: yoga,
for sure,
cannabis, and vegan.
I agree.
Mind,
body, and soul.
Mind, body, and soul. That's what it covers.
Yep.
So when you're having these conversations, right, around cannabis, and then you bring in fashion, how do those two tie together for you?
Ooh, fashion. I would say I first learned how they tie together through a stylist. This girl I was dating. You just see the different measures she goes through throughout a day, whether it's finding items for to style someone, and the rush of trying to make sure your credit card can fit the bill, and making sure you rush it on time, and literally, again, all these emotions that a person goes through a day. I think cannabis is the one thing that kind of cools people out. I even seen one part where she like uses it before she goes and picks up her daughter from school. And
I'm talking about you as
me?
I'm talking about you as far as creating content, because you combine kicks and cannabis. So I mean, just because you're into kicks doesn't mean that you're into cannabis. How did those two come together for you? You guys blend on the show.
Yeah.
You use that as an entry point. So how did you come together with that process, and how does the connection point happen for you in that manner?
So it really started in retail in Chicago. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in fashion, but retail was my learning point. And so ironically, every time we dropped a Jordan or a Yeezy, and this is when Kanye had the Nike Yeezy, I'd see a long line of people out the door, literally waiting to get in line. Now, it could be cold in Chicago, it could be hot, but the one thing I always saw was a lot of stores had a lot of riots. They were fighting over shoes. But my store, for whatever reason, each person standing in line always had cannabis. And I always found that like crazy, like, why?
So it kept them cool.
It kept them cool. And for the life of me, I would go bring food or donuts, and we would just like ask them, like, where are you smoking cannabis? And they're just like, yo, I go through so much and all this pressure, I need to calm down. So again, that's where I first organically saw that story. But then obviously I work at Glass House and I work at Proper as a creative director. Both parties are into fashion. Both parties are into cannabis. And I just wanted to do something different in the cannabis space. The CEO, Kyle Kazan, was like a father figure to me. He challenged me to be Burner in the space, but not necessarily how Burner moved. So I'm like, okay, I'm not a rapper. I can't rap, but through content, I know I can win because that's my thing. I'm going to tell a story that I think people can relate to. And so, you know, good cannabis and good kicks, it always causes a conversation. You could walk by someone, and if you smell good weed, it'll make you stop and be like, hey, bro, can I hit that? Or eye contact from shoes. That's the first thing you notice. I mean, I noticed you have the Air Max 90s on from far away. So again, we pay attention to these little things. So I think it's a conversation piece. It's an entry point, and it don't matter the race. It doesn't matter the gender. It doesn't matter the age. Like, if you have good shoes and good weed, that's a great starting point for any conversation.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. What have you learned about cannabis through this adventure? Because obviously, I don't know how heavily you were into it when you were younger, but
not at all.
I didn't think so. So, you know, you've made this leap into this area. What have you learned about it? Like, what were some of your misconceptions that you have since learned and come to view in a different way?
I thought that cannabis made you, as an athlete, I thought it made you out of shape, because it was always a connotation that don't smoke weed during the game or before the game.
But a lot of athletes smoke before the game.
You'll be surprised.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. A lot. Anyway.
And so, yeah, so I thought even the fact that, what was another negative connotation they said about cannabis?
Well, what about, because here's the thing. Mm-hmm. The reality is smoke, inhalation does do damage to the lungs. So how do you counter that when you say that there's some healing properties that happen with cannabis use?
Well, I was taught that when you smoke cannabis in particular, it opens the lungs. So that cough that you get, that's your lungs like literally opening up and adjusting to the air in your body. So it's not even a negative.
It's what you smoke it in.
This is true.
Okay.
This is true. So when you see like Black and Mild or someone breaks down a zigzag or something, like that has tobacco in it. But I smoke papers, so papers it's like vegan. So it's healthy for you. It doesn't it has no tobacco in it. So it's just, again, like you said, how you smoke it can kind of determine like how you feel.
So we have some commentaries in the chat. Shout out to Kyle. He's in the chat. He said, thank you for highlighting athletes in cannabis along with the very talented Marcus Malone. Great show. So shout out to you, Kyle. Trent the artist is in the chat. He said, excellent point, Marcus. I've met so many people and made tons of connections over weed and nice shoes.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So I think it's a greeting point. It's a point where people come together. So let me ask you this. Along with breaking down the negative stereotypes that you have, in the conversations that you have on Kicks and Cannabis, what have you learned through that?
The storytelling. Whether it's how someone came up with a strain, whether it was the time they had. A lot of it, we get a lot of Hollywood stories. Like Who Kid always talks about different celebrities he smoked with. Puff, like not necessarily not greeting him up first, but him just having good weed made him want to smoke with him and then talk, and they end up talking business. Okay. So that's just another benefit of the plant, just having good weed. But also he's had stories where someone had bad weed and someone was like, yo, bro, you got to get out of here with that. So
you get put out for having bad weed, right?
Yeah, especially in LA. You it's impossible for you to have bad weed in LA and go be in that type of scene. That's absurd.
So are you saying that cannabis can be a gateway to potential networking opportunities?
1,000%. I literally, that's another beautiful thing about Glass House. They fill me up with a lot of product to give out to people, and you'd be surprised the conversations and the people I've met through cannabis and the people who you wouldn't think smoke weed. You'll be like, wait, no way. Like the deacon? Wait, the pastor? Like, wait, that person?
So when we come forward, I am going to ask Marcus about some of his famous friends that he smoked with, the favorites and so forth. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe. The topic is cannabis and athletes. And you are going to get access, because that's what we do here on KBLA Talk 1580. When news and sports are up next, KBLA Talk 1580.
When I step on the scene, they can't wait to back it up. Your ex still a dope, but it ain't crack enough. I'm supplying my man, I'm in demand. Soon as I land, just know I roll with them goons. In case you start acting familiar, this kind of love, big business, whole slab. But you can't get no higher.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Island, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Reports say the small bag of cocaine found in the White House was discovered in a different area than previously reported. NBC News reports it was found in a cubby near the White House's West Executive entrance, not the formal West Wing. The area is on the same floor as the Situation Room and a dining area, and is a highly trafficked area. The FDA is granting full approval to a potential breakthrough Alzheimer's drug. Leqembi is the first drug proven to slow the memory loss disease. Other approved drugs only target its symptoms. The U.S. jobs market continues to remain hot. New numbers released by ADP Thursday showed the private sector added 497,000 jobs in June. That's more than double what analysts predicted. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Island from your source for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the Accident Guys.
Injured in a car accident or at work? The Accident Guys can come to you almost anywhere, so you don't have to come to us. Se habla español.
KBLA Talk 1580 is dedicated to empowering our communities by providing progressive talk radio for our audience. We strive to be an intersectional voice for the voiceless. As a Black-owned and operated station, we are committed to highlighting diverse perspectives and creating safe spaces for meaningful dialogue. We believe that everyone has something unique to bring to these political, economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding, while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners, so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Want my secret for how to prep for summer getaways and get-togethers and get everything for less? Get to Kohl's. I just went and saved an extra 20% on sunny day essentials, like tees for my husband for $9.99, an adorable sport for my daughter, plus all the grilling tools we needed for a great barbecue. So get to Kohl's and save on cool finds for hot days. You'll thank me later. Select styles, 20% offer ends July 9. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Hey Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Give it from the top. Tippy. It's
Okay.
all people.
Sing it, daddy.
Hey.
He's smoking music.
Take my mind where it's never gone before. Roll like a mushroom in cow. And I'm taking it just to get the ultimate high, baby. The ultimate high. Excuse me as I kiss the sky. Fingers on the sixpence, a pocket full of rye.
Shout out to Meth and Redman. I see you with that one. Okay. So Marcus, you were just telling me you're headed out to Summer League. NBA Summer League starts this weekend. Before we get into that, you know, Michael Rubin's having another party this weekend. So while you're out there, you should try and hit it up. The Fanatics CEO, this is news from Shams, by the way. So Shams is on Twitter. You know, he's an NBA insider. Anyway, he said the Fanatics CEO is teaming up with the NBPA, which is the National Basketball Players Association, so their union, to host an NBA Summer League Players Party on Saturday night, which sounds strangely like what they do during the regular All-Star game season. Yeah. So Summer League is turning into a thing. So what is happening is Lil Baby is performing. Joel Embiid is going to be there. Kevin Hart, Meek Mill, Victor Wembanyama. I'm trying. I have made it very clear that I am struggling slightly with the pronunciation. I almost had it, and if I phonetically put it out there, then I'm going to have it. But in this moment, I didn't have that to grab, so I tried to space it out. Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson, you know Scoot's going to be lit. He probably going to have his grills in again. So, yeah, that's going, if you were in Vegas Saturday night, you know, it's private, invite only, but perhaps you got the juice. I know you got the juice.
I do.
So talk to me a little bit about what you're going to be doing out at Summer League.
So Kyle suggested that obviously with the new rules that the athletes are allowed to invest and somewhat promote, that I go just, you know, use my relationships with agents, players, and coaches, and to get them to, one, come back and get them to try to invest in some way, form, or fashion in the company. So I'll literally be out there to focus on that and, you know, just strengthen my relationships. Basketball, just...
How does that work? Because you already have relationships, so people are comfortable meeting with you or having those connections, or is it that, hey, I got a little weed, let's go smoke and talk?
Well,
like we just talked about.
The crazy thing is during the pandemic, whenever that year the Summer League was, I think 2021, like guys were just walking around in the lobbies and hotels smoking weed. But, it was they allowed it. So now this year, I don't think it's more about getting product on players. It's more about strategically saying, look, we offer all these different things at Glass House. Aside from just coming to see our retail side or, you know, meet the CEO or see our farm or see all the things we have in development, it's, you know, we want to protect your investments. I think that's the one thing that Kyle brings to the table versus others. Like, he's great at getting people to invest and getting a return on their dollar. He's never invested in anything that went left or bad. So that's one of those things where we just want to bring those relationships to cannabis. And then whatever happens from there, it could be a brand, it could be a podcast in-house, whatever we come up with strategically that makes sense, but we want to ingratiate athletes into cannabis the right way. And more importantly, you know, we also use basketball games to court people for business. Like, we already have investors that we deal with, and how better to close a deal over a basketball game. So the goal is to go down there and just build upon the relationships I already have with coaches, GMs, players, and agents, and see how we can make sense of how to use them at Glass House or how we can partner to do bigger things in the cannabis sector.
Okay, nice. So talk to me a little bit about the Drew League. You played in the Drew League when you were in college. Did you start in high school too? Were you one of the ones that played?
Yeah, Rock got me in there. A few games. It was just, if it was like 2 minutes before halftime, that way I can't do too much damage if I'm failing. But
I saw like the game son was playing when I went a couple of weeks ago. He was playing on his team. So what is it like playing in the Drew League? So you've been there. You started when you were in high school. So you've been around to see a couple of things change. What is it like being a part of that culture and now not just having a team that participates in it and that legacy aspect, but actually winning a title with it?
Well, I look at it as a marketing platform. Each week you have an opportunity to showcase your game to the public. Now the NBA, I think the NBA app, they show all the games now. So its ability for players who may be underlooked or overshadowed, they're allowed to possibly make an NBA team or try out rather, or they're able to enhance the money they're able to make overseas because there's so many eyes on it because of the level of the competition. I think even just the fan engagement, the environment, these things have grown like exponentially through, I think, 2014 to now. Like, just the it's more people at the games, there's more at stake. Brands want to be a part of teams. Yeah, because
you guys get rings now, right?
Yeah.
Like,
first
they get
year,
sick rings.
We were the first team to get a ring. which was pretty expensive when I saw the cost.
Are they allowed cash prizes too?
No.
Because of their.
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's a tricky lane for them at the moment. But just the opportunities that it provides for the players, the ability for fans from the inner cities. Like, some people can't afford to go to the crypto arena. Like, as a kid, I couldn't afford to go to the Forum, so I had to go to sports arena games. But to be able to go to the Drew League and possibly see your favorite hometown player or just players coming in and out and see them for free, I think, what better environment to be in. And that's one thing that LA culture is good for. We're able to bring celebrities down to our level and just make them and just humanize them. And then obviously on the flip side, like, you get good food, you get that authentic Kool-Aid or
Drew-Aid is popping. Who are some of the pro players that have played or are playing on your team this summer?
You can go any day. You could see a Trae Young, DeMar DeRozan. He just signed another year. What's the big guy? Oh, golly. I'm drawing a blank. Sixers. Sixers. Philadelphia Sixers. What's the
Tobias?
Nah.
I don't know.
Anyway,
keep it moving.
Yeah,
you can go.
Yeah.
It's free. They have clinics for kids. The Junior Drew League, I believe, as well. So it's a good environment if you're into basketball. If your kids want to see professional players up close, you can go check that out.
And LeBron played last year, so I mean, if LeBron plays in, that says a lot.
You think Bronny's gonna roll through there at some point?
He should. To
play.
Yeah, he should.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's ready. He's ready. He should play.
All right. Well, when we come forward, we're gonna talk to Marcus about some of the famous people he smoked with and what that experience is like. And we're going to continue the conversation about cannabis and professional athletes. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe, VIPs on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin ultra strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Where are we on the lineup?
It's official. Avery is producing Main Street Music Days.
We need to be ready. We're going to have lots of people. What's the status on the new sound engineer?
They need an audio technician to keep things level from sound checks to encores.
Make sure audio from one stage does not compete with another.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition, and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. You are checking out RSVP. We are live in studio with Marcus Malone, the creative director of Proper, the senior brand manager of culture and lifestyle for Glass House Brands, Drew Lee coach, all of these things. Really quickly, I wanted to ask you, since you are into fashion and sneakers, and this is someone that you were connected with, what did you think about Tiana Taylor's Jordan?
I have 2 pair to start off.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I loved it. The texture she used, the fabric she used were amazing. The detail of stitching and embroidery they used on the shoe. It was a comfort one, which is like a different cut of the Jordan 1, so it actually wasn't the Jordan 1. But the details that she put into the shoe, the fabric she uses, the rollout.
The rollout was crazy. The
wild,
packaging.
Wild.
Yeah.
And then she had a block party in Harlem, and just everything about the storytelling of her shoe. I know that can't be it. She has to come out with something else. But that colorway, how she did it looks like the original Bread 1, but once you get it in hand, it tells a completely different story. I
feel like she was destined for something like this. She's always been so creative into the sneaker culture and all of that. So another line that's new, that's out. What do you think about Rich Paul and his line with New Balance?
New Balance, yeah. I have a pair of those, the cream with the purple. As an agent, he's doing all the things that these other agents didn't want to do. So not only is he...
So you don't think, and I don't necessarily think this, I'm just putting this out there asking the question, do you think it's like Suge Knight all in the videos and things like that, like your agent has his own shoe deal and shoe line? That's cool? Okay.
I think it's a method to his madness. I think he's building a platform to... When players come sign with him, they don't necessarily have to worry about another brand. They could get another shoe deal, but they know they have something
automatically there.
Yeah.
And it's authentic because Rich has always been a sneakerhead. Yep. He's always been into fashion, jerseys or whatever.
Throwbacks.
Somebody else at Nike used to hook up. Shout out to Rich Paul.
For sure.
So so you're for it. You're with it. You like the design. You like the look. I know that they said the target really was more middle school, high school kids for the line, just sort of so as to not be in competition with the players.
I think the middle shelf is a great demographic to go after because some people go for this high price shoe and it just causes too much. And him being authentically from quote unquote the hood and creating something for them, I think that's perfect. It's affordable. It still looks good. You can probably buy the whole outfit under $300. So I mean, I love it. I love everything he's doing.
All right. Shout out to Rich Paul with the reasonable price point. We like that.
Yeah.
Now, since you are a cannabis enthusiast, right?
Yep.
And you're connected, that means that you have probably partaken of blowing down some trees with some interesting people. So I want you to share with me a couple of interesting people that you have shared this time with, and what was something ironic, funny, or interesting that you took away from that session?
I'll start with Lamar Odom. Lamar, we have a friendship because he sponsored my uncle's AAU team when I was in college. When he got out of rehab, he used cannabis to help cope with his cocaine addiction. And so a few of my guys over at Camp Nova who had just started their cannabis company said they wanted someone like him. And so I'm like, well, he uses cannabis. this is perfect. So I ended up getting him to get his first deal. I helped facilitate the first deal, but I didn't smoke weed then. I just knew who did, and I knew what made sense. And so I ended up smoking weed just being around him because we like to play video games. And it's like after so much contact.
I'm going to ask a controversial question.
Talk to me.
Was that not scary, smoking weed with Lamar Odom, just because he's had some, different type of situations and,
Well, I saw the peace it brought to his life. I saw how the anxiety from, you don't just get off of cocaine or a drug like that. You need, it's a process. And the crazy thing is what people didn't understand. Once he got out of rehab, they just rushed him into Hollywood, like from the TV deals to the book deal, which I was around, to not even the cannabis, but it was just so many things being thrown at him. I saw that the cannabis was the one thing that just made him whole. It made him relax. It made him just free from the pressures of just, trying to just rebuild in society, even making $1. So I saw that and I was like, wow, if this is a peaceful place for him, it wouldn't hurt. And then plus I'm already getting secondhand smoke from playing video games with him, and brands just sitting in so many different strains for him to try. And Lamar is really an enthusiast of weed. Like, he knows his strains, he knows his product. And literally I started with him because I'm a creative. I couldn't sleep at night. And so I'm like, yo, what am I going to do? And then my guy was like, man, you should try the weed. It'll help slow your mind down and help you go to sleep. And literally we started smoking, and he started telling me Kobe stories of when they were in Boston and how the fans used to just throw like snowballs and all type of stuff at them when they played, then how they would rock the bus. It was just so many great stories that came out of Lamar when he was smoking. I don't know what it does, but people tell amazing stories when they're high. I don't know what that's about.
Freeze their mind, opens it up. So really quick, because it was requested in the chat.
Talk to me.
Marcus, tell us where we can find you on social media and get more info about you, your brand, your lifestyle, etc.
For me, my personal _ Marcus Malone. Other than that, you can go to Cannabis and Kicks TV, which is the podcast. On Twitter, it's Malone's Tweets. And then Facebook is just my name.
Okay, so back to this. Who was exciting to smoke with? Who was the next exciting person to smoke with? So Lamar showed you peace and introduced you.
Yeah.
Next?
Mike Tyson.
Mike
Tyson. So I'm always on the set with Who Kid, which is a blessing. Like, Who Kid doesn't have to bring me around and all that, but just me helping him with like questions to come up with for whatever guest, just being able to, in between segments, to smoke with Mike Tyson and him just talk about like different healthy foods to eat, like blueberries, or him just telling different stories when he was in jail or different parties he's thrown. Again, I don't know what it is about cannabis, but it makes people tell some stories I can't even repeat.
They're amazing storytellers.
Yeah, and Mike is usually like, he goes on, if you just watch his podcast, he's very random. But it's strategic, but again, every time he smokes, he's just like in the coolest, calmest place. So I'd say Mike Tyson.
Okay.
Lastly,
yep, the last one. Let's wrap it up.
I say Bella Thorne.
Okay.
She had a brand with Glass House. I think we went down there for Coachella. Glass House, we sponsored her Coachella after party, which was crazy. And
totally different experience from the first two, I would assume.
Way different, but she's like the coolest person in the world. Like, you see her on Disney, you've seen her grow up, you see her like in these different lanes, but literally like she'll come to you, smoke with you, she'll ask you what you like about her product, like just the coolest person. And you just never know with her like what you're gonna get, but when it comes to smoking weed, you get the coolest person in the world.
Okay. So what can we look forward to coming up on Cannabis and Kicks, the episodes that you got in the tank?
So, I don't know if I could let it out just
yet. Well,
we do have some big announcements. We do have a TV deal in place. And the crazy thing about it is we had it actually after we put out episode 2. So we will be announcing that probably September, right around my birthday, around the 7th. We'll be announcing that. Shout out to Shelly Styles, DJ Broadway, and DJ Who Kid.
Those are your co-hosts,
right?
Those
are my co-hosts on the show. So what else? That, and I probably got something. Glass House, obviously plant shopping. We have 2 TV networks that want the show already, and it's just a great opportunity to do something different in the cannabis space. So thank you to the whole Glass House team for allowing me to like bring this idea and then helping me flesh it out and then just giving me the confidence to do it. So we'll have that announcement in probably the end of this month.
Okay, nice. Well, for those of you listening, 800-920-1580. If you have any questions, you want to just give us a call, you got a comment, you want to share some information, you want to share your cannabis experience, we're here for you, VIPs. So, okay, we have Drew League, we have Summer League, we have Kicks and Cannabis TV, we have Proper.
I got one for Proper. We are doing a big hat collab with a legendary rapper. You got to be there.
West Coast?
South, Texas, Houston.
Texas, okay.
Yeah, this one it's gonna be, it's different. It's different. It's someone that you know wears fitteds. It's someone of the culture. It's definitely gonna put Proper on another level.
Well, talk to me a little bit about Proper. Shout out to my gift bag that Marcus dropped out to me with lots of Proper stuff and, you know, other things like from Glass House. You know, I can't show you guys. But thank you for that. Appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about Proper.
So Proper was brought to me. First off, I used to shop there as a kid in high school. They used to have a big Nike account. Right now we're in a space where we have everything but Nike and Jordan. So I'm really focused on that, but I'm doing all the things that I know the brands want. So storytelling is big, collabs, just integrating them in culture. We have a women's team in the women's Drew. Proper's put a team in there.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's a women's Drew League. I saw on video. You guys won.
No, we lost the first one.
Okay, my bad. But you know, there's more.
Yeah, we played them all.
It's not indicative of the talent. It's just sometimes you lose.
Yeah, we only had 6 show up. It was just the first week, but we'll be a full force tomorrow. We play at 6. For Proper, for me, it's just bringing the storytelling and the consumer to the store. I'm really trying to drive traffic, whether it's through different activations we have, different collabs, different things we're filming. But I got some stuff that's going to shake up the city. I've been paying attention to what's needed, and I'm just here to provide. Okay,
you have an injection of newness. Well, VIPs, I want to thank Marcus Malone for joining us this evening. You know, it's been very educational, very informative. Tell them one more time where they can find you at on social media.
On Instagram, it's _Marcus Malone, and on Twitter, it's Malone's Tweets.
So when we come forward, we're going to be talking about that white substance found in the White House. We're going to discuss Kim Kardashian and Tom Brady. Are they a maybe? Twitter and who they're planning to sue. We're also going to share the 25 cities with the highest percentage of African Americans and the top earning cities where you can make money, the best potential for careers. I'll give you a hint. Most of them are on the West Coast. All that and more when you come back, when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. You're checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe.
The Egyptian must used to have me pull mad sluts. I shift like a clutch with the ruck. Examine my I don't stop till I get enough. Your broke down like your flare. Since the dark side tears you into Hollywood squares. 6 million ways to die, so I chose. Made it 6 million and one with your eyes closed. And blindfold cold so you can feel the wrath. And shatter the glass in second half on your.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Island, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Reports say the small bag of cocaine found in the White House was discovered in a different area than